Behind me is the place where the great Mahatma Gandhi was assassinated on the 30th of January 1948, arguably one of the most important places in India. To my right is the building in which Mahatma Gandhi used to live. This was opened as a museum in 1973 and it belonged to a very famous industrial family called the Birlas, and it was bought by the government of India in 1966 and it was opened as a museum, Gandhi Museum, in 1973. You can see the place where Martyr's Column is behind me. This is where the great Mahatma Gandhi on that day, on his way to the prayer place, got assassinated by a right-wing Hindu nationalist. The most popular spot, as well as probably the most historical and a place with probably the maximum character in Delhi, is this one. It's called Qutub Minar. It actually goes back to 12th century, late 12th century, and this really was the beginning of the Islamic rule over North India. It all started from here and went on for 600 years on the trot before the British actually replaced them. This is also one of the most familiar landmarks in Delhi as well. Believe it or not, it's actually older than Old Delhi. Old Delhi is only 17th century, but this one actually goes back to 12th century. Today, it's a World Heritage Site. There are quite a few things here. Of course, the central piece is behind me, this sandstone tower with a little bit of marble at the top. But it's a whole complex. There is an iron pillar which goes back to 4th century. It's an amazing thing. It's a metallurgical wonder from ancient India. And then, of course, you have the remains of the temples which were sadly knocked down in the 12th century, and the material was used to build a mosque. So that mosque is still there. That's actually the first mosque on Delhi soil. And then, of course, you have another mosque which is still functioning. This one is not functioning, but there is one right at the entrance. There was a cupola apparently at the top of this tower, which actually came crashing down in the wake of an earthquake, and that cupola is also there in the gardens of this complex. There is a lovely tomb on the left of Iltutmish, a sultan who finally completed this tower, and his tomb is also one of the most beautiful buildings here in this complex. So we are at Qutub Minar, a fascinating site and a site which is not to be missed. There are many little treasures hidden, tucked away in small corners of Delhi. One of those things right in the middle of the imperial Delhi is this 13th century stepwell. Now the stepwell was something which was very popular in those days because it used to have rainwaters harvested, and in hours of need they used to use this water. Now you can find lots of stepwells in Rajasthan, in Gujarat, in many other parts of India, but right in the middle of the imperial Delhi, this is really a little gem. And as you can see, the conservation work is in progress. It wasn't really looked after till a few years back, but now the government has actually woken up to this task, and this stepwell is now being restored. It is, in fact, a must visit if someone is in this vicinity.